hope to have a very short engagement and something that is very engaging. We want to hear your views on different things that we've introduced, and we appreciate that you've found time to come and be with us. So it's currently 4 a.m. and I would quickly like to take us through the program. Then before I do that, we will start with prayers because I think it's very important to put God first in everything we do. So I will ask the Principal Test Development Officer, Mr. Luke Masinde, to just bless this meeting with a word of prayer. Mr. Luke.
Thank you, MC. All members present, good morning. Let us commit this meeting before the Lord. Father, in the name of Jesus Christ, we worship you this morning. We thank you for making us see a great Thursday. We honor you for this meeting, that every stakeholder that is attending this meeting will give their views, Lord, openly to us, that we may be able to run the programs according to how all of us want it to go, oh Jehovah. We thank you, Father, because you are faithful. Your word says, commit your plans unto me, and whatever you do will succeed. We commit this meeting to you, that at the end of it, we shall rejoice and celebrate the great things that we are going, the great ideas we're going to have and hear, oh God. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Back to you, Lorraine.
Thank you so much, Mr. Luke Masinde, for that powerful prayer and just putting us in front of God as we start this short meeting. As I've said, we won't be able to take a long time. So we are almost 130 participants in this meeting. That's a very good number. And thank you. So we would like to go to the program. The program will be short, and as it is shared there, we will start with the opening prayer, which we have already done. Then we will go to the CEO's remarks, and under the CEO's remarks, we will have some introductions first of all, to just know the people and who has joined in. Then afterwards, we will have the CEO's remarks. Our acting CEO, CHRP Margaret Ngu, will be able to give us the remarks, and also she will be able to introduce the 3 exam series that we want to introduce starting next year, April. And we want to know what are your views as students on this development. Then afterwards, we will have the examination administration remarks from the acting manager examination administration, who is Dr. Leonard Kiragu, who will speak about the transition from the old curriculum to the new curriculum. That is very important because we have so many students who are still in the old curriculum and they've not finished their studies. And we are moving away from that curricula to the new one. So also, we will have a plenary session. We would love to know your views about all this, especially about the introduction of the 3 exam series, which will be April, August, and December. And just to give a background is that we've been doing 2. And also on the transition guidelines. So as I've said, if you have any questions, the presenters will present, then you can give your questions, and also comments. We'd like just to know what is your feeling about these introductions and what we are talking about. So thank you so much for being here. We appreciate, and at this juncture, I would like to invite our, before I invite our CEO, I love to introduce people. So if you are a secretariat here, kindly you can unmute your mic and introduce yourselves. For the students, because there are many, kindly introduce yourselves in the chat box. Just say your name, tell us whether you are a continuing student, whether you are a dormant student, whether you are in the old or the new curriculum. Then you can also tell us if you are private, institutional, all that. And also the heads of institutions, training institutions are also here. We appreciate that you've come here. You will be able, before the secretariat introduce themselves, let's start with the heads of institutions. So if you're a head of institution, kindly just unmute your mic and introduce yourself. Thank you.
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Emmanuel Sifa, College Admin, Traction School of Governance and Business. So glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Yes, any head of training institution here, we recognize you. Kindly, you can unmute your mic and speak.
Right. Good morning.
Good morning.
Abed here from the College of Human Resource Management. I'm happy to join you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Abed. Any other institution here with us today? Others can still keep introducing themselves in the chat. So if you are a head of institution, you are from any institution, just introduce yourself in the chat box. You'll be able to see and recognize you. So thank you so much for joining again. Members of the Secretariat, kindly, if you're here, you can unmute and speak. I'll start with myself. I'm Lorena Seka, as I've said, and I'm your MC today. I'm also the Corporate Communication Officer.
Lauren.
Thank you.
Lauren.
Yes.
Lauren.
Yes.
The Secretariat can put on their camera when they introduce themselves, then go off.
CEO, we have disabled all cameras because of some security issues, so they might get a bit of difficulty. Yes.
Okay, that's fine. It's okay.
Okay. So kindly just open your mics and introduce yourselves. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Frederick Laiboni from ICT.
Yes, good morning all. My name is Dr. Leonard Kirago. I'm the Acting Manager Examination Administration. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Luke Masimbe, Principal Test Development Officer. Karibuni.
Good morning. My name is Ngosi Mbomba in Senior Test Development.
Good morning. My name is Betty Odera, Quality Assurance.
Thank you so much for those introductions. I don't know whether I'm leaving anyone behind before we move on swiftly. And I appreciate all the messages that we are receiving on the chat box for the continuing students and the dormant students and those in institutions and those who are not. And we appreciate those who've come up today for this engagement. So before we go on to the CEO's remark, today's engagement is about the introduction of 3 exam series and also the transition from old curriculum to the new curriculum. We won't take much of the time. So I'd love to introduce our CEO, our acting CEO, CHRP Margaret Ngu, who is also a member of IHRM. CEO, kindly, you can unmute and give your remarks, then take us through also the introduction of the 3 exam series. We will be able to put the PowerPoint so that you can see. Thank you. So you can give your remarks, then you will start on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Aseka. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for attending this meeting. We really value you as our students, whether continuing students,
You can share your camera.
students.
I've allowed you to share your camera, CEO. You can share your camera.
Thank you. Thank you, Laiboni. So I can repeat what I've just said. I said we are very grateful. Thank you so much for answering to our call for this meeting. You are very valued stakeholders for us. Whether you are a dormant student, you are a continuing student, or even a potential student, you matter very much to us. And I would like to especially encourage the dormant students. Dr. Kiragu will talk about the transition to the new curriculum next year. But for the dormant student, we value you. There is still time for you to reactivate your transactions with us, and you finish your program. We really value the feedback from our stakeholders, and that is why we felt that when we are introducing our 3 series of exams per year, obviously it is of much advantage to the students so that they can be able to clear their program very fast, and so that when, for example, I'm not saying you are going to get a referral. We really hope that no one gets a referral, but sometimes it happens. So that when you get a referral, for example, in April, then you can be able to repeat that in August. If there's another issue, you can again be able to do that in November, December. So it is more flexible. It's a more agile and flexible program, and therefore benefits our students very much. But even as we think about our students, you're saying your views really matter. So we are here to listen to your views on this, and I'm sure majority of us will agree that organizations that survive today are the ones which are flexible and agile. And so it is in that spirit that we've thought it wise to introduce a new way of doing our programs. And thank you so much once more. So I want to go through what our main agenda is for today on, introduction of the 3 series of our CHRP. So currently we administer two series of exams, that is in June and in November, and we have 7 centers, which are Nairobi, Nanyuki, Nakuru, Eldoret, Kisumu, Mombasa, and Thika. And starting April next year, we want to transition the way we administer our exams. So we want to administer them in 3 times in a year. That is April, August, and December, starting April 2025. Move me to the next slide, Aseka. Now, why are we introducing 3 series? When we introduce 3 series of exams, then we can be able to have ourselves, rather the institutions can be able to have more intakes, so they can continuously admit students throughout the year. Then for us, we'll be able to address the stakeholder demand. Most stakeholders have been demanding, why can't you style up like the other examinations bodies, which administer 3 exams per year, that you're keeping us for too long, that waiting for 6 months, and especially when you get a referral, yet you don't have special examination. So we want to address that demand, so that those who are smart enough, or those who have time, or those that can plan well, can be able to finish our program very fast, and then they continue with other aspects of their career. Then when we introduce these 3 programs, then we'll be able to align ourselves. We have benchmarked with the other examination bodies like CASNEB, which has been administering exams since 1969. And they administer exams 3 times a year. And so we also want to go that route. Then we want to increase the number of certified CHRP students per year, because so far, since we started certifying HR professionals, we have certified about 3,005. I think that's a small number since 2017. And so we want to enhance the competence of HR professionals by certifying more students per year. And so with 3 sittings, then we can be able to get to certify more. And this will also expand our exam centers. Like you have seen in our June and December and November exams, we only have 7 centers. But with us having these exams 3 times a year, which will now run alongside the CBET programs. Our CBET programs, we have a CBET certificate and CBET diploma, which we administer in April, August, and December. So we want to run the CHRP alongside this program, the CBET programs, meaning that we are going to expand our exam centers, because again, it has been a challenge for many of our students. Some of them, have to travel very long distances to take the exams. But now the CHRP students can be able to take the exams where the CBET programs are being offered. And so we are bringing CHRP closer to you so that you don't have to travel very long distances. And so we want to hear your views on this so that we can be able to serve you better. And thank you very much. Stay on so that we can engage and get your feedback. Thank you. Back to you, Rowena.
Thank you so much, CEO. Thank you so much for that brief but very good presentation on the introduction of the 3 exam series, that is April, August, and December, that is beginning next year. So for that, because I know there are so many people here who also want to hear about the transition, I would love to just take you through what the CEO has said. She has said that we will have a justification for that is that we'll have more intakes, and you will have an opportunity to finish your CHRP program first. We are also aligning with other exam centers. We've benchmarked with them, and we also want to expand our exam centers so that we have many of them. So I love, before Dr. Kiragu comes in to tell us about transition, I like to know what, as stakeholders, I know we will have a plenary session, but I want to take this away so that we can handle the views that students and other stakeholders feel about the introduction of the 3 exam series. So if you have any comment about what the CEO has said and the introduction, kindly put it on the chat box, or you can just raise your hand so that we can hear what you have to say. Kindly, if you have anything to say about this, we can give that. So you can raise your hands. Odigo has raised his hand. Odigo, I think you can speak. Then after Odigo, Judith Owor, you will speak. Thank you.
Well, thank you. First is to appreciate maybe what you guys are putting to ensure that maybe a lot is done in this profession that is positive to the industry. Well, to one point, we raised some concerns about the time frame through which maybe we take maybe to receipt the exams if one happens maybe to go to get a fail or such or a refer. Let me say so. And I think this is a great step that HRM has taken. And we are support of that, and considering the introduction of progression rule in the exams, like in the last sitting, I was in a situation whereby I had to sit 2 exams per day for 2 consecutive days. You'll realize that it's too. It places a candidate in a place whereby there's some kind of fatigue, and maybe they may not be able to sit for other exams while in the right state. So introduction of these 3 sittings, I think it has solved the problem that was there. We appreciate for that, and as stakeholders, we are willing to engage and give every kind of feedback that would maybe ensure we get enough support as professionals and as we move forward. Maybe Aseka, would you maybe be in a position to just give me a minute maybe to ask a question, or that will come?
Thank you so much, Mr. Nicholas. That will come in the plenary session. For now, we are just handling questions and observations and what stakeholders are thinking about the introduction of the 3 exam series. But we will have a plenary session after this. So thank you so much for your remarks. I love to read some 2-3 remarks before Judith comes in. It's a great move for HR professionals, but I have a question to ask. Yes, Mohammed, you can ask us the question. With the changes to 3 series, will graduation be once or twice in a year? CEO will answer that. There's also one who's saying that the additional exam sittings is a great move. Thanks. Will you ever move to having the exams online? We will also answer that. Stephen Owiti says that the 3-set series is a great step. Thank you. Christine says the 3 exam series are so welcomed. Thank you so much, Christine. We can see all your views. So Judith, Awar, kindly you can speak. You can unmute and speak.
Okay, thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Madam Margaret, for the presentation. Highly appreciated. I'll just first start by saying that we're very grateful for having 3 exams. I think personally for me, who've just done my first 6 units, I felt the time frame was too long, so this is very much welcomed. My only question will be, has the HRM aligned with the institutions? Personally, I'm from CHRM. Has they aligned with the institutions so that they are able to have intakes that are aligned with the exam timestamps? And if that is done, when is that going to be effected? So that was the only concern that I had. From my end, I'm okay with the changes. I just wanted to know if the institutions have also been involved, just so that when we're studying, that is also in line with the exam times. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The CEO will come up and answer the 2 questions, one on the graduation and the other one that Judith has asked. But I love to read more from our stakeholders. Rose Mude says, great step with the proposal of 3-step exams and exam center expansion. Phoebe says that, does the transition mean one will be overlooked for having started the old curriculum? We will speak about transition guidelines after this. Right now, we are just speaking and seeking for views on the introduction of the 3 exam centers. So this will be after Dr. Kiragu has gone through the presentation. Then next is Ross Kulecho, who says that the introduction of 3 exam sittings in a year is a great move. Thank you so much. And lastly, we just have some other questions that we will be able to answer. So CEO CHRP Margaret Ngu, kindly you can answer the 2 questions. Then we can give 2 more speakers a chance to speak before we finish. I'd love to hear something from the institutions. Kindly, if you're a head of institution here, I'd like to know what is your thoughts about the introduction of three exam series. I had CHRM were here and Traction. Kindly, we will appreciate your views. Thank you so much. CEO.
Hi, good morning. Good morning, Lorena.
Good morning. Good morning.
Yes, Emmanuel here. Thank you very much for bringing in the issue of 3 examination sittings in a year, which have come handy. I think it will solve so many problems. But again, maybe on additional to that, let's all remember that the students will only have 3 months to register, pay exemptions, and book for their exams. So in this sense, I'd like to maybe the HRM to be a bit lenient on matters exemptions, because at times you guys give the students only 1 month for them to apply and pay for the exemptions, and this 1 month is not enough at times, especially the students who are struggling with finances. I think we need to adjust that so that we accommodate everyone, from someone who is struggling in finances to someone who is really okay with everything matters concerning finance. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. We have heard the views, and we will improve in terms of that. CEO, Abed. Abed,
Yes,
I've seen you here.
Yes, Lorena, I was thinking maybe I can come before the CEO so that he can she can bundle that together.
Yes, thank you.
All right, thank you first of all for putting these engagement together. It's I think it's the right move. Having 3 examination series will actually help us a lot as training institutions, because you see, one of the biggest challenges that we always face is, like, for example, even in cases where students have to do receipt, and then they have to wait again for another period of 6 months for them to be able to do that. I think at least now with the 3 examinations, it will enable us as training institutions to structure our intake in a that now accommodates the 3 examinations. And it will also help us a lot in resolving most of the issues that come, or rather that emanate from the fact that it's only 2 examination series. As we tried actually to have a September intake, it couldn't work, because once you admit a student in September, they have to wait all the way to the following year, June, for them to be able to sit for exam. But now with the introduction of this, you can admit a student in September, and the following year in April, they sit for the exam. So it's a move in the right direction, and thank you to the team HRM PEB for thinking about this. So for the other things that come along with the same, especially on the issue of intake, fees, and how we structure our intake so that we can accommodate that, I think the training institutions will be able to work something along that. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much, the training institutions, for just being able to give your views and consenting to the fact that the 3 examination series will be a great improvement from the 2. I'll give Dennis, there's one with 0CF. Kindly just write your full names for me to give you a chance to speak. So Dennis, you can, Idel first. Idel was the first one to raise her hand. Idel, you can speak, then Dennis, you speak. Thank you. Welcome. Idel, you can unmute and speak. Or Dennis.
Yes, thank you for giving me the chance. From the presentations, this is a good idea. It's a welcome idea. My question is, I'm a new student. I'm just starting I'm not new, I'm actually starting the registration. And I've heard you say that there's a new system being introduced, new curricula. So if I sit for the November exams, do I sit for the old and then in the April exam, sit for the new? I need that clarification, kindly.
Good morning.
Thank you, Dennis. We will answer your question. Yes, Idel, good morning.
Mine is to applaud the CHRP for this great step they've taken. Introducing 3 series is very good. Some of us were really struggling with to wait for that long to sit for exams. As much as I'm almost completing my course, I'd love to request for something. As you expand the examining centers, would you consider the students from Lower Eastern and give us a center at Machakos, let's say? Come from very far to come to either Nairobi or Thika to sit for our exams. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Idel, for those comments. We will consider that. Abok, kindly, you can unmute and speak. Abok, if Abok is not there, then I'll take the last messages about this issue on the chat box. Then we can give our CEO the chance to respond all others. So Juliana Ouma says that this is a great move. Thank you and good morning. Kindly you can mute if you're not speaking. Then also we have Rita Chelegat, who says if the 3 exam series is introduced, will the results be released before the next exam sitting? We will be able to answer that. Also, CHRP Martha Muchiri, who says that the move to move 3 exams is very much welcome. However, I would want to know if this will call for 2 graduations per year. We will be able to answer that. Jamila says this is a very great initiative. Thank you. Then last but not least, we have Marion, who says such a thoughtful move. I am happy to be associated with HRMPEB. Thank you so much, stakeholders. So okay, so let me give the chance to our CEO who's here to be able to speak about the CHRP, to be able to sum it up about the introduction of the 3 exam series, because as I've gone through the messages and as our stakeholders have spoken, everyone is in agreement with this move. So after that, we will go into all other questions, including those exemption questions, including the transition of the curriculum and everything else. Right now, we were just handling stakeholder views on the introduction of the 3 exam series. And as we've seen on the chat and as our stakeholders have spoken, they love the idea and we will be able to implement it come April. CEO, if you're here, I don't know whether our CEO is here.
Yeah, I'm here.
CEO, before you just speak, we have 2 people who wanted to speak. Let's just give them 2 minutes each. Harriet, kindly, you can unmute and speak, and Dante, just 2 minutes each before we finish this matter. Harriet?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Harriet.
Yes, I'm CHRP Harriet Nasambu. I had requested for my exemption in the year 2016, and I'm seeing now they have introduced a new curriculum of sitting with 3 exams per year. How will this affect me because I'm the old student curriculum?
Okay, Harriet, what we've said is that we are having another plenary session just after now. So we will be able to handle your question. We just want to finish with introduction of the 3 series. Dante, if your question is about exemptions or any other thing, we can handle it afterwards. But you're just handling the introduction of the 3 exam series. So now let's, Dante, you can speak.
Good morning, everyone. I've listened to what you are saying. I think I'll come in to ask my question in the plenary series. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So, CEO, now you can finish up with the views. You've had the views of the stakeholders on the introduction of the 3 series. CEO, you can finish up the discussion so that we can go on to another discussion. Thank you.
Okay, let me take the question on how many graduations, though they are not graduation, they are certification ceremonies. How many certification ceremonies we are going to have in a year? And now that we have changed from 2 series to 3 series, we are considering that we are looking at the most practicable way of doing it. But definitely, we are going to change this. We are going to change our certification ceremony so that we can accommodate the new arrangement. So we are going to work on that and we communicate, but we want to ensure that moving forward, we do not inconvenience the candidates who have completed their program. Then whether we have liaised with training institutions about this arrangement, we have liaised informally, and you are witness that 2 of them in Nairobi are here, and they have really supported this idea, but we are going to have very formal engagement again with them so that we can support them. We know they agree with this idea, and we want to support them all the way so that they are able to do continuous registration of students and take them through our curriculum. On the question that was raised about now that it would be like 3 months, it's like we have intervals of 3 months for our students to prepare. They register, they seek for exemptions and all that. Yes, we are going to improve our system so that the delay does not come from our side. And we are going to support our students so that the new program succeeds. And therefore, we are going to be more flexible and more agile when we are implementing our new program, so that we can support our students. So CIFA, that is our assurance that we are going to do consideration that now the time for registration and exemptions is short, and therefore we are again going to work on that. Now, someone asked about the old curriculum that is in the new curriculum. So when it comes to next year, we list it for the old curriculum. Now, this will be presented, but not that old curriculum and new curriculum do not mix. It's like new wine and old wine. They don't mix. So if you registered in the old curriculum, whether you are sitting twice or you are sitting thrice, still sit for that old curriculum. If you are sitting for a new curriculum, if you registered after starting July 2022, that means you are in the new curriculum. So even when we change to 3 exams in a year, it does not affect the curriculum. It only affects the times that you sit for the exams, but the curriculum remains the same. And about considering the Lower Eastern for an exam center, we are looking at that, and that's why we have mentioned that we will expand our examination centers. I think I have tackled those, Aseka. Thank you.
Thank you so much, CEO. Without wasting a lot of time, Dr. Kiragu can unmute and speak about the transition from old curricula to new curriculum. Then we will have a plenary session where exemptions and everything else, we will be able to speak about them and clarify on several issues that our students are putting on the chat. So the exam administration department, you're welcome. Thank you.
So good morning, all. Good morning.
Good morning, Dr.
Yes. Now,
Good morning, Dr. Kirago.
Good morning.
Very good. And then I kindly request Dr. Fred Laiboni to help me share the screen, or enable me to share the screen. Now, I think this is the time we are
Dr.
waiting
Kirago,
for
you're allowed to share.
to hear about the transition. Yes?
You're allowed to share.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Sorry for the mix-up, but Raiboni, it is still saying that host disabled participants screen sharing. So can you do something?
Can you check now?
Yes, I can now. Very good. Thank you. Now I was saying that this is the time that all of us have been waiting for, so that we know or we discuss about the old curriculum to the new curriculum. And when CHRP started, we were offering the old curriculum, and the old curriculum had a total of 22 units. And the good thing with the old curriculum is that you could even the research projects. In the old curriculum, there was in HR, then you could be exempted the research units. But then in July,
Daktari, can you play back a bit? We lost you a bit. We couldn't hear you because you kept on breaking. Yeah.
Dr. Kiragu, I don't know whether he has been able to go. Dr. Kiragu, you're having network issues.
Sorry for that. I think I have internet challenges.
Yes, kindly come again. You are breaking.
Yes, I'm having network. Yes. So I was saying that in June, or rather in July 2022, the board introduced the revised curriculum, which has 19 units. Now, in the revised curriculum, there is on the number of units you can be. So I want to discuss about the units that you can be exempted in the new curriculum. So this is how the revised curriculum looks like. We have a section 1 and we have section 2. Then in section 1 and section 2, that is in CHRP part 1, and also in CHRP part 2, these are the units. You can only be exempted 49%, or out of the 19 units, you can only be exempted 9 units. So this one means that Laiboni, Fred?
Yes, Dr.
Now, those who are taking the old curriculum, they had an advantage over those who are taking revised curriculum, in the sense that in the old curriculum, there was no limitation of exemption. But you can only be exempted 9 units, which are in part 1, which were in part 1 and in part 2. But then when you go to part 3, even if you have done these units elsewhere at your diploma level, or even at your degree or master's level, or even at your PhD level, you cannot be exempted any unit in part 3. So all subjects in part 3 are compulsory, and even including the industrial-based project. Now, what we are trying to encourage you is that for the dormant students, you need to reactivate your accounts. If you are a dormant student, you will be required to activate your account with 500 shillings, and then you will be active and you will be good to go. Then kindly take advantage and complete the course. You still have 4 examination sittings: November 2024, April next year, August next year, and then November next year, 4 examination series. And I think I want to thank the board for seeing it wise to offer examination in 3 sittings, that is April, August, and November. So those in the old curriculum, you can still take advantage of this. You come, you activate your accounts. Then if you have any issues, just email us, just call us. We are there for you. We are ready to assist you to help you accomplish what you had intended to accomplish, and that is to be a certified HR practitioner, or to have the CHRP certificate. Otherwise, I think that's all. Now, those I think the CEO had said, because I can see in the chat box, there are people who are asking, suppose November comes, November 2025 comes, and you have not finished the old curriculum. What will happen? Then you have to finish the race with the old curriculum. Curriculums are never mixed. And that is why we are encouraging you that you still have 4 examination series. That is November, April, August, and November next year. So kindly take advantage of it. Come and then you finish the race. Otherwise, thank you so much. Lorraine, over to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. for those remarks. And I just want to clarify that dormant students, for you to activate your accounts, you need to go to the student portal, activate, and the amount is 5,000 shillings, not 500, but 5,000 shillings. So thank you so much, Dr. for those remarks. I know we have a lot of questions and I don't know how we can do this, but those who want to ask questions, you can kindly carry up your hands. Then I want to give Alex is here. Alex, you can come up and answer a question about exemptions. But as you answer about exemptions, I'd also like you to take some 2 more on the chat and answer. Alex?
Thank you, Lorraine. Good morning, our stakeholders. My name is Alex Ondieki. I'm the Examination Administration Officer. And I believe everyone can hear me. Lorraine, you can confirm?
Yes, you're loud and clear.
Thank you. I'd like to clarify on the question that was raised by Emmanuel from Traction College. Emmanuel, thanks for that question. Your concern was on the period that HRM-PEB gives students to pay for exemptions. You mentioned about 30 days or 1 month. However, I'd like to clarify that students who have applied and been granted exemptions are not given 1 month to pay for exemption. However, according to the CHRP exemption policy, newly admitted students are given 1 month to apply for exemptions, not to pay for exemptions. Payment of exemptions, a student can pay for exemptions as soon as they are granted, which we encourage. However, you are not restricted to 1 month. But also key factor to note is that during examination booking, if you have not cleared or paid for the granted exemptions, you will find that those units are populated there for you. In other words, those exemptions granted will be activated upon payment. So what that means is that if you have not paid exemption fee, assuming I was admitted in January, but my plan is to sit for exam in August, assuming now we are in 2025 and the 3 sittings have been introduced, the fact is that I'll have to clear for those exemptions before booking or during booking. So that means then that the payment is not restricted to 1 month. It is only the application that is restricted to 1 month. And why we restricted that application to 1 month, it's because application for exemptions is allowed for holders of qualifications, diplomas, degree, and all these other qualifications. So therefore, the argument here was, if a student has been admitted, they are all holders of these qualifications. So there is nothing limiting them to apply for exemptions immediately or within 30 days. Previously, we had cases where a few weeks to certification, students were rushing in huge numbers, presenting documents that they didn't present when they were being admitted. And some of them, when you ask them for original documents, they take off. So we said, if indeed you are a holder, you should be able to present your qualifications within 30 days and be granted exemptions. Thank you very much. On the other issue that perhaps on transition, I'd like to clarify, my apologies, I have not gone through the text and the chat box. I believe that, Laureen, you are doing that, but I'll be able to come in to clarify any questions as required on those that you have read and noted down. But what I'd like to notify for ease of transition, because I believe it will come a time when we are transiting fully to the revised curriculum, and we may have students in the old curriculum who are still continuing and they have not completed, or perhaps, God forbid, they had failed a subject or two, and we need to accommodate them and not necessarily requiring them to, go to the revised curriculum and abandon the old. So to ease that transition, the students in the old curriculum are encouraged to ensure that they have taken an exam and they have passed the exam in those units or areas that are not reflected in the revised curriculum. I'll give an example. In the old curriculum, we have a unit business communication, which is not in the old curriculum. We have got principles of and practice of management. We have got office administration. We have got HR administration. And we have got, which other one that is not, we have got labor laws and the relations, which in the old curriculum, relations and labor laws are separated. But in the revised curriculum, the two are combined. So if you are a student in the old curriculum and say you have not done business communication, PPM, office administration, HR administration, labor relations, you have not done labor laws, you are encouraged to ensure that you prioritize these units so that by the time we are transiting, you find yourself that the units that you are remaining with are those that can be equated in the units in the revised curriculum. For example, in the old curriculum, we have introduction to HR, and then in the revised, we have employee resourcing in the old curriculum, we have employee resourcing in the revised curriculum. We have learning and development, reward management, like that. So these units can be easily equated with the other units in the revised curriculum. So what I'm saying is that we encourage you to ensure that those units that cannot be quoted under the revised curriculum, you prioritize them. even with the progression rule in place, we will be able to hold your hand and to ensure that you are able to transition seamlessly when that time comes. Thank you very much, Maureen. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Alex, for those clarification. And thank you for the 350 students who are here and stakeholders. We appreciate that we called you under a very short notice and you've come to this stakeholder engagement. Dorcas, Bok, and Lynette, in that line, could you kindly unmute and you can ask your questions? And kindly, the exam department, most questions are from the exam department. You can look in the chat box and you can pick some of the ones that you'll be able to respond to the students. Thank you, Dorcas. Welcome.
Thank you. My question is on the curriculum. And I would like to ask a question whereby maybe there's a student who is not able to finance their studies for a longer period, let's say maybe 2 years. And would they be allowed to switch to the new curriculum? Is it possible for them to switch to the new curriculum? And if they do, what are the repercussions? Having done the old curriculum to maybe up to maybe 6 units, and then got into a financial crisis that they could not continue. And then when they get the money, they want to continue and feel they want to switch to the new curriculum. Is it possible?
Thank you for your question. Abok? We will answer it. Abok, or
Yes,
you
yes.
can...
Good morning, everyone. Now, questions, or I can call them concerns. My first question goes directly to Dr. Kiragu about the research aspect, that the project based for the private candidates. Now, we are introducing 3 series exams, and we understand that. Let's take an example of an exam that is done in August. And remember, one we have been done in April. The results for April will be maybe out in May. And this candidate is supposed to do the project. You know, the project goes from proposal to assignment of the supervisor and all this. So for the project, will it be possible to do it in 3 months? That is number one. The same based on that. Now, we are in, actually, I'm in that research, that is my level, the last one, our private candidate, and we are in August already. The institution based, already they are on their project. With us, you call, you're being told you have to wait for you to open the site for registration, then you'll be allocated the supervisor. So is it that it's disadvantageous to private candidates, or what action will you take in that aspect? That is number one. Number two is, have you ever thought of maybe giving these, issuing the certificates per part, maybe part one, if you're done with part 1, section 1, 2, 3, and 4, whichever, then you're issued with a certificate. Because if you look at most of the job advert, we need at least a continuing student, CHRP continue. But what is it that you have at hand that you can show? Okay, I'm continuing. You can't only give an identification card that I'm a member. No, you need to have something that like I've done 1, 2, 3. So I don't know what your work is or how you're doing it. Then number 3 is the last one, and it comes to someone finishes the course in December. The certification is done in October. Now, in such a scenario, you see this person will be waiting for 10 months. And you see 10 months with this economy, there are so many things that should happen. Would you think of issuing something like a completion letter once somebody is done with the exams? So those are my 3 concerns, which I wish you'd address.
Thank you so much, Abok. Dr. Kiragu has taken note of your concerns and he will be addressing them with all others. Lynette, you can unmute and speak. But as Lynette unmutes and speaks, I will request HRMPEB Secretariat kindly go to the chat box and help answer the questions of the students there, because there are very many and they are streaming in very fast. We cannot read all of them. We just have 10 minutes to the end of this engagement, and kindly you can answer them on the chat box. Answer each and every question there on the chat box. But for now, we will only have Lynette will speak. After Lynette, Nicholas, then Dante, Emmanuel Sifa, then we will finish with Harriet. So with Harriet and Joseph, those are 6 people. Kindly, let's just speak on the topics that we've spoken about today. Any other thing we will be able to engage our stakeholders the next time. We are speaking about the introduction of 3 exam series and the transition from the old to new curriculum. If you have any other matter apart from this, we will be able to engage you even on our platform. So Lynette, you can unmute, and the Secretariat, this is a kind request. If there is any question you can tackle from the chat box, kindly help our students sort out some of the questions they have. Thank you. Lynette, kindly come up.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Lynette. I'm a student with the CHRM. My question goes to Dr. Kiragu because he touched on the exemptions in 3 parts. My question to him would be, if our student has already done quantity techniques QT in the diploma or in the degree, why is it that the student is equally requested to do another unit in accounting and financial management, when I feel that this is more when the student has already done QT, they should be in a position to be exempted doing accounting and financial management in the HRMPEB. Can Dr. Kiragu kindly advise us on that? Because it's a bit intriguing when you go to class, you find the same things maybe you did in QT are the same ones, similar, the same you're doing in accounting. So I wish we can, that topic can be addressed. Why is it that students cannot be exempted doing accounting and financial management when they have done QT and maybe this student got a distinction in their QT? Why take the student again through the same process of doing accounting and financial management? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lynette. Nicholas, come on. You can unmute and speak, Nicholas.
Okay, thank you, Lorraine. Mine is like a concern. Like now, we have introduced 3 sittings in a year. Considering time that is taken to maybe go through the question, answer booklets, the marking process, and whatever. Is there a possibility maybe the restrictions can be limited when it comes to the minimum number of units that one is supposed to sit for? Like, for example, maybe if there can be an introduction of whether maybe someone can be in a position to sit for a minimum of, say, 2 units. Because when you look at the time frame, after sitting for the exams in April and August, you'll realize that maybe it will take 1 year or something, 1 month for the marking to be done and for the results to be available. Maybe if we can be granted a position whereby someone can be in a position to sit for a minimum of, say, 2 units, then maybe as we prepare for the units that maybe we've not sat for in the exams, because you may not know what might come up after the results, you realize that maybe there's a paper that you need to receipt for or such. such that maybe at least from the units that one had not sat for or had not covered at an institutional level or prepared for, somebody can at least prepare for, say, 2 units. Then in the event that maybe after, when at the time of when the results are out, maybe they need to receipt for maybe 1 paper or 2 papers, then they can comfortably accommodate that and be ready, be in a position to prepare to sit for these units. Because actually, one of the things that forced many students to maybe sit for extra number of units, it was in consideration of the time that is required maybe to clear the course or whatever, such a kind of thing. Well, we appreciate again the introduction of a progression rule. But now a quick look at what Abed had shared. When you look at this timetable, it's kind of it's the repetition of the same thing. Like a candidate has 1 paper in the morning, and maybe then another one in the afternoon. Then tomorrow morning they also have another paper such. So I feel like maybe if a minimum number of units can be maybe reduced, then it can maybe be one thing that can work out for maybe candidates or so.
Thank you, Nicholas, for your questions. We'll be able to answer them. Dr. Kiragu and Alex, kindly, I hope you're picking some of these questions because I want them to ask, then we can reply to them. Those on the chat, because there are so many, I've requested that we will be able to answer the questions in the chat. So Emmanuel Sifa, you can come on, then we'll give Dr. Kiragu some minutes to answer the questions, the many questions that have been put forth. Emmanuel?
Yes, mine is just a concern now that this is a stakeholders engagement. I think there's the issue of transition from the old to the new syllabus, where I believe I think there's a mandate from the ministry. A curriculum normally is revised after every 5 years, especially for the professional bit. So now my question is, it is expensive to manage to curriculum, especially to the examination bodies. And my pray is whether the board can come up with a way on how they can at a point transition all the old students to the new curriculum, which will help them even maybe manage one curriculum. Now that the revised curriculum is 2 years old, and I think, I don't know if CHRP follows the same, but I think after 5 years, they'll be required to again revise this new curriculum. Perhaps you might have 3 curriculums running, which will be even more expensive. But we have maybe to borrow from other friends managing curriculums as well. Some of them normally transist the students this way. If, for example, in the old curriculum, you had business law, or rather commercial law, say, for example, but commercial law was replaced by business law. A student who had sat and passed commercial law is not required to take business law in the new curriculum. Then that is, maybe they'll adapt the other units. A student who sat and failed commercial law will be able to maybe take the replacing unit in the new curriculum, which in my scenario is business law. So in such a case that you can accommodate this old curriculum to the new curriculum as you transit, I think that will help the board to manage only one curriculum, and it will be less cost. That's my input on this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel Sifa. Dr. Kiragu, we have, I want you to answer some of the questions, but we have Dante, Mutua, Joseph, Dorothy, Koech, and Margaret waiting online to give their questions. I'll take all their questions. So Dr. Kiragu, you can just take some 5 minutes and upset some of the questions or tackle some of the questions. Then we can go on to Dante and Mutua asking questions.
So thank you so much for this opportunity. I'll take the least time possible to answer some of the questions, starting with the most recent, where the candidate was asking, or rather was saying that it is expensive to have more than one curriculum learning. And as a board, that is why we have called for this meeting, because the old curriculum is coming to an end in November next year, November 2025. So it means that from 2026, we shall have only one curriculum. And I still insist that we still have 4 examination series for us to finish the old curriculum. Then another person had asked about the issue of issuing a certificate per part. I would say that it is something that the board is thinking about, and probably as the time goes, we are going to take a look at it, and we are going to advise accordingly. But as at now, those who may want to apply for jobs that and they want to show that they are continuing students with the CHRP program, we normally issue result slips, and some print and bring them to us to stamp and also for signing. Then the other issue is was touching on the introduction maybe of 2 certifications per.
Dr. Kiragu, your internet, we cannot hear you. We can't hear you, Dr. Kiragu. As Dr. Kiragu comes on, kindly, if you're asking a question, be brief. We'll just be giving 30 seconds because actually time has really gone. We had promised just an hour of engagement, but we are going to almost 1 hour, 30 minutes. Be very brief, go straight to the point. And if the question has been asked, kindly don't repeat the question. We will be able to answer. Dante, could you kindly unmute your mic and ask your question? You have a minute.
Lauren, kindly.
Yes? Who's speaking?
It's Alex.
It's Alex. Can you allow Alex to make some further clarification on a few of the questions?
Rolene, can I proceed?
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Sorry about Dr. Kiragu's network issues. I'll just chip in on his behalf very quickly. Abok had raised concern or rather a question on the issuing of art certificates. A very good question on this one. I'd like to clarify that the principle and the spirit behind the progression rule, other than compliance with the requirements by regulatory authorities such as Kenya National Qualifications Authority, is to be able to ensure that is to be able to give better recommendations to candidates or our students. And also, we are an evolving and a learning organization. And in that spirit, being responsive to customers' needs it's part of what we envisage. So therefore, the reason for that is we introduced the progression rule. Previously, it became a challenge even to recommend a student that so and so has done part 3 and they are remaining with part 1. Then the questions sometimes we are getting from the industries that how can someone finish, part 3 when they have not done part 1. So once the progression rule hits the road and we have students completing units progressively, we shall be able as an organization to issue part certificates so that you are able to apply for those jobs that require you to have the competencies of a CHRP part 1 holder or part 2 before you complete to part 3. And also, Abok also raised a concern on completion letters. I wish to clarify that we have been issuing completion letters on need basis for those students who have completed and they have not received their certificates. Perhaps, let's say you completed in June, we are waiting for certification in October. We do issue completion letters, but such letters, you realize, they are issued on need basis. And then I'd like to clarify on Digo's concerns. The first concern was on the restriction of number of units, whether currently we have a minimum of 3. You as our market, as our clients, we are trying to be responsive. And also I remember in most cases, students have challenged the organization to emulate other examination bodies such as CASNEB. So then you realize that even in these other organizations, such as CASNEB or even universities, when you enroll as a student, there are those requirements that you're supposed to meet. For example, in universities, they do give about minimum of 6 units per semester. If you go to CASNEB, unless you are doing a retake or a receipt, you progress per section, either section 1, section 2. So, and if you are a fresh student, you're sitting for examination for the first time, you cannot go in and sit for 2 or 1 unit in a section, but rather you are required to take the whole section. But also another reason behind having those units at 3, not 2 or 4, is to ensure that there is a balance, that our clients are not disadvantaged, and as an organization, we are also not disadvantaged. Why do I say that? Running an examination is an expensive affair. Administering an exam from setting to release of results is an expensive affair. So if we have many students doing 1 or 2 units, then the organization will be running losses. So after clear mathematics, the organization came to a conclusion that if we have students doing 3 units, then both of us as a student, as an organization, will be able to break even. And then you realize, other than there are students who are asking to do less, 1 or 2 units. And currently, as we speak, there are those students who come in and they're asking to do 7 and 8 units. So it is, it's a delicate balance. So therefore, we can only come in the middle and say the maximum is 6, so that then a student is able to concentrate and gain the competencies that are required and cover the required credit hours. And also to ensure that the qualification as you earn it is not just a paper, but you have acquired what is required. So therefore, 3 units is reasonable enough. And even as we introduce 3 sittings, whereby now the issue of time, has it been raised, whether the time will be sufficient for units such as the project, it's also an issue we are looking at, even with these other units, looking into the credit hours that are required. So therefore, covering 3 units, it's good for organization and for the students. And then lastly, there was an issue again that he raised last on the number of exams per day. Now, why the number of exams per day, that one will range between 1 and 2. We may not have a situation where we will have students sitting 1 unit per day. If we go that direction as an organization, we will end up. Currently, we run an exam for 6 days. If we allow students to sit 1 exam per day, we run the exam for more days, which is also not economical. So the understanding here is that you have got all this period to prepare for the exam. Currently, you have got 6 months to prepare. So therefore, if you have got 6 months to prepare for exam, sitting for 2 examinations, one in the morning and another one in the afternoon, shouldn't be really an issue, but rather we are looking at the level of preparedness and the amount of support that you are given to prepare for that exam. So I'd like to also clarify that I'd like to share the current timetable so that we can all agree. Laureen, are you able to see my presentation?
Yes.
Yes. So for those who are where we are heading, as we continue with the progression rule, we will reach a point whereby you'll find that a student may not necessarily have 2 exams in a day. For example, you'll find that the units in part 1 that you are undertaking will be taken in the units in part 1 are administered different days or different times. The units in the examination timetable are mixed. Like in this case, you'll see that there is no way a student doing introduction will find themselves again doing strategic management. Here, I want to clarify the issue of timetable clashing and other students raising concerns about having 2 exams running at the same time or being required. And also on this day, you can see that it is not possible that if a student is doing a maximum of 6 units and they're on progression, even in the afternoon, you will notice that the unit here, that is MRS, which is in part 1, and the other introduction in human resource, which is in the morning, the 2 units may not mix. So therefore, for a student, let's say, who does not have exemptions and they're doing these units on progression, they'll not find themselves in a situation where they are doing or the units are clashing, or it will be in rare cases where you are having to sit for 2 exams per day. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alex. So kindly, because we are also running out of time, the people who had raised their hands up, Dante, you can, Dante, Joseph, Tua, Dorothy, and Koech, we will give you each a minute. Kindly go straight to the point on the question you want answered, and ensure that you don't repeat the questions, because some of the questions have been answered on the chat box. Dante?
Yeah, thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Mine will be very brief. One, I need to ask if the HRM has considered a situation like I see with CASNEB of having diaspora students. I'm outside the country. I work within West Africa. And even when I was taking my master's from Kenyatta University, the university had an arrangement with the embassies because the online system of administering exams was not just a viable option. So I'm asking if HRM can also maybe consider something like that, because I know for a fact that CASNEB, for example, administers exams throughout the embassies where we have the Kenyan embassies outside the country. So I would wish to know if that can also be considered so that we don't feel left out. Number 2 is about the exemptions. I honestly feel that the 49% exemptions is a bit unfair. For example, to someone like me who has a degree, I have a diploma in HR, I have finished my master's in HR, and then I end up getting 49% of exemptions. What that means technically is that I'll find myself doing the same units because I cannot be exempted in almost the units I've done. And lastly is about the project. As I mentioned, taking the diploma in HR, I did a project. Master's in HR, I've done the project again. Now with the CHRP, you guys are saying we must also do the project. Can this also be considered? Because should I be doing the project again for CHRP? It's a repetition of the projects that, because I've done already the projects. So I will wish these matters be looked into. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dante. Mutua, you can unmute and speak. Kavo Mutua, or if he's not around, Dorothy Kemunto. Dorothy.
Yeah, so my question is, first it's on the reactivation fee for 5,000, why we need to pay 5,000 for somebody to reactivate the account. And the next question is, if you're doing 3 semesters per year, how will the project be done? Because currently, even the 6 months that we are given to do the project, some students found it not enough because of the back and forth you have to do with your supervisors, and it takes a lot of time. So will that be able, will it be possible for it to be done in 3 months? Or what are the plans if somebody's doing a project? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dorothy.
Hello.
Coach, you can unmute.
Sorry, before, just it's Kavo Mutua.
Okay.
My question is simple. How do we access the papers? Because I've been finding it hard to access past papers because we are not allowed to go with the question papers home. That's all. Thank you.
Okay. Mutua, your question is simple. Go to our HRMPEB website. You will see on the downloads the test papers. Coach, kindly, you can unmute and speak.
Sorry to interrupt, but they are not okay. I was in the last sitting. The test papers are not updated, so that was just my concern.
We will update them. We will update them accordingly. Thank you. Coach. Okay. Then Harriet. Harriet is the last one. Harriet, you can come up.
Okay, I just have a little concern. Okay, I'll speak at a personal level. I'm an old student curriculum, and you've said maximum units are 9 papers, and I was already exempted 16. Will it affect me? Then another issue, how long is an account taken dormant? And if you can also consider the issue of reactivating an account with 5,000, to me, at a personal level, that's too much for reactivating an account. Yeah. So my issue is if 9 papers is the maximum exemption, I was already exempted 16 units and I had already paid for them. And actually I was looking forward for reapplying another exemption because in between the time frame, I have done my master's. So kindly just clarify on that. Can I reapply another exemption?
Harriet, you've said you're in the old curriculum.
Yes. I'm in the old curriculum and I had already been given a 16 exemption and I had already paid for them. I was only preparing to sit for the 6 units.
Okay, so for you, nothing changes. Your 16 exemptions still stay. So do not worry. You just come and sit exams. So I want to clarify that dormant students are students who have not been in the system for 3 years. Like you've not been able to transact with your account for 3 years. So for example, if you have been away for a year, you just pay the annual renewal fee. You don't pay the dormant student fee, the reactivation fee. So that should be clear, and your exemption still stay. So all those questions, I don't know whether Dr. Kiragu or Alex are here so that they can off those questions that the students have asked, and I've not left anyone behind. I think everyone has been able to speak. Dr. Kiragu and Alex, anyone who's here?
Can I speak, madam?
Yes, Mohammed.
Yes, thank you very much for this opportunity. My names are Mohammed. I'm calling from Mandera. I'm joining from Mandera. I have been registered at Mount Kenya. And then I was given exemption. At the same time, I have not interacted for a while because I was a bit out of the country. So I wanted to resume the old curriculum and finish. So from there, when I consulted Mount Kenya, where I registered initially, I was told the lady who used to register us, I'm told she got another job. She left there. I don't know who is there now. I was unable to go to Thika due to some reasons. I don't know now. I wanted to start and finish my course comparing the exemptions, what I have done, the exams, the results, and what is pending, so that I can be told you are left with 5 units, so that I register and pay accordingly. But I am missing on where to start. Kindly, can you help? Thank you.
Okay, Mohammed,
Noreen.
we will be able to reach out to you so that we can see how we will sort out your case on individual basis. So
Yes, madam.
Thank you, madam.
Yes, madam.
so kindly just take our number 0710 560 That is an office number. You can call it and we will be able to help you out. Alex?
Yes, madam, please. Yes, madam,
Yes.
please. Yes, madam. Please, can I ask a question?
Yes, Mohammed Malele.
Yes, madam. I am calling you from Garissa, and I am also a CHRP student. I have graduated from Garissa University, and I have a degree in human resource management, and I'm now currently enrolled as a master's student from Garissa University. I did also my higher diploma human resource, that is under NEC program. And my question here goes, since there is introduction of a new curriculum, my question here is that I have already registered with the CHRP, and I wanted now to renew my professional body. So how can I renew? Because since the period has already elapsed. So that is my question. And the other question I'm asking is that, madam, is human resource removed from the CDAC program, or CDAC is still offering human resource management course? That is my two questions, madam. Kindly, please.
Thank
What
you,
I'd love to
Mohammed.
say is that, okay, Alex, you're
Sorry,
now
sir.
here. Before you come in, anyone who has any individual problem, kindly reach to us. We will be able to help you solve the problem on one-on-one basis. And then, so that we can finish the engagement, we've been here for almost 1 hour and 30 minutes. So Alex, you can take over and answer all the other questions that have been raised.
Thank you. I will start with the quick ones on Omar. I agree with Lori. The questions will be addressed individually, kindly contact us. But for the sake of the rest of the attendees, if you are having an issue with your institution, for instance, Omar mentioned that the lady was working not there. You engage the institution, make sure that you are the institution, not necessarily the individual. So in that case, what you do is you just contact, and I'm sure perhaps you had school fees which you have not utilized. So therefore, it is not the lady who was working there. In as much as she has left, the institution is there. Contact the institution, and we believe you'll be assisted. Because there is always a replacement, and there is an officer who is now handling the issues to do with professional courses at MKU and also in all other institutions. The clarification on Mohammed, how to renew. We have transitioned to our services are now purely online. What you need to do is just to create an account or student account if you are not created. So if your renewal is due, you'll be able to see. You click on student balance, you will see the 2,000 shillings reflected there. If your balance is 0, then it means your renewal period is not yet. So this time you need to not to worry when is your renewal due and how to renew. Best by make a payment of 2,000 shillings. Reactivation is 5,000 shillings. And how do you do this? You log into your student portal account, check your student balance, then we'll be able to inform you. The second question on Mohammed about whether CDAC is offering HR, you realize there is what we call QAI. HRM PEB, CDAC, CASNEP, universities, these are all QARs, qualification awarding institutions. So therefore, yes, CDAC is in existence and they are offering the programs that they are offering. We are all two QAIs, just like there is NEC offering courses, diploma, and professional examination board, CHRP offering CHRP. So lastly, there was a question on the number of exemptions. I made very clear. In this space of imparting knowledge in the Kenyan, system that we exist in, we have got three players. We have got two players. First, the regulatory authority, and there is a qualification awarding institution. Here, when it comes to CHRP, the regulatory authority is Kenya National Qualification Authority, and the QAI is CHRP. Just like in universities, for CUE, and that's where in universities you realize that assuming you studied in University of Gab and you want to enroll or to enroll for a program, or you are required to present a letter from Commission for University Education. We call it equation and qualification letter to confirm. So therefore, meaning that universities are regulated locally, and it is the authority that is allowed, given the mandate, to confirm such qualifications. So in universities, there is that regulation of the number of credit transfers given, and they are determined by CUE. In this space of HRMPEB, where we are awarding CHRP, we are regulated by KNQA. Part of the KNQA requirement is that a QAI, which is HRMPEB, in this case of CHRP, we cannot award more than 49% exemptions on the program. And this is also an aspect that also had come out from other institutions. Students who had done the CHRP program, who had covered 5 units, and they wanted to pursue master's degrees in other institutions, and they wanted to use CHRP, were finding themselves in a very, they were being asked questions, and some other institutions were denying that qualification based on the number of exemptions that were given. So therefore, in the spirit of continuous improvement, HRMPEB is now in compliance with the KNQA regulations. And we are also at the given institution, its requirements for each program. For instance, we have what we call core units and elective units. Elective units are those that you can decide to take or not to take. You have got options, but core units must be undertaken by every student in that specialization they are in. So equally in CHRP, part 3 is the core, is the compulsory. That's why it is not exemptable. So part of the part 3 is the project. We also need to look at this from no perspective. You realize it's academic, it's from the academic program. So the board, in its wisdom, determined that part 3, part of it be the project and be the, you realize that that's where the students who are newly admitted and those in the revised curriculum are required to apply for exemptions for those units. So that is the thinking and the spirit behind having part 3 of the CHRP being compulsory. And that's why some of you are having to find yourself, in as much as you have done master's degree, PhD or diploma, and you feel that some of these subjects you have covered them, but you have to do them again. Why? Because it's a requirement. Those are the core subjects in CHRP. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Alex. Thank you so much for coming for this. It's been engaging. We've had your views, we've had the issues, and we've written down. We've also downloaded the chat. So if we've not been able to answer your question on the chat, we will reach to you individually and be able to answer your questions. So thank you so much. Just before I finish, we have been talking about introduction of 3 exam series, that is April, August, and December, that is starting April 2025. So if you're a student, you can start warming up for that. So thank you everyone who's been able to join in, and we appreciate your comments, and we appreciate everything else. So I'd like to invite any stakeholder to finish us with a word of prayer.
Lorraine, I interject you a bit. I didn't hear, there's a question I asked about the exemption for a student who's done QT in the diploma and is doing accounting and financing. Why is the student why are students not being exempted from those units if they've already done QT, which is an equivalent of accounting? Why is it that they can't be exempted? I've not had that question being answered. And there's also another question of the 5,000 that is being charged on the what is this? Is this renewing of the account or something? I've not had someone answer me that.
Lynette, we talked about the 5,000 reactivation fee for the dormant students. If a student has been away for 3 years, three good years without transacting, then he or she automatically becomes dormant. And that is when you have to pay 5,000 for your account to be active again. For the exemption question, I don't know, Alex could be able to answer very fast in 30 seconds so that we can finish. We've overstayed. Alex?
Yes, Lorraine. Perhaps I'd like to clarify that could be an individual concern because you realize it's not all students who are not exempted from financial accounting and management. I'd like to clarify that CHRP exemptions are granted on paper-by-paper criteria. And what that means is that for a student to be exempted, each and every subject that a student is seeking to be exempted, he or she ought to have been trained and examined, and that unit should be clearly reflected on the transcripts. So here, if it's a question on QT, you just present your case to the office, and if other documents may be required, you realize in the revised curriculum, we have got financial accounting and management, unlike in the old curriculum where we have only the accounting aspect. So here, the exemption policy requires that for a candidate or for a student rather to be exempted from financial accounting and management, financial management, the two, that is accounting and management, the student must demonstrate coverage of the two areas, that is financial. If you demonstrate that you covered that in QT, you're welcome to present your documents for assessment, and you'll be given, decision will be made accordingly. That's like what I like to say, because we still have quite a number of students who are qualified for that specific exemption. So from where I sit, I believe it's an individual, and I welcome, is it Harriet? I've forgotten the name, to present your case so that it's looked into, provided you meet all the outlined requirements for exemption. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alex. And just a little of clarification, because I've seen this reactivation fee is bringing a lot of questions. I want to clarify that if you are an active student, any active students, you pay 2,000 every year for annual renewal fee. But now if you have been a student and have been away for 3 years, actually it's a discount because you have not paid 2,000 for each year. So for 3 years, you would have paid 6,000. But because you have been a dormant student, then your account is dormant and you will activate it with 5,000. So you can even be aware there are other people who just joined HRMPEB from 2017. They've never done anything in their account. And those are almost 6 years down the line. The only thing you need to do is we have discounted for you. You will not have paid 2,000. So you are expected to just pay the 5,000, then move from the dormant student to the active. I know we have very many dormant students here, and that's why we are encouraging you kindly be able to finish the old curriculum, come and activate your accounts to read active student. And we will be releasing the timetable very soon and opening the portal very soon. So be able to activate your account so that you can take the November exams. Thank you so much. And at this juncture, I would like to welcome one of the people who are raising up their hands to pray for us. Gabriel Kimani, you can pray for us and finish off the meeting.
Okay. So I don't comment what I wanted to comment.
You can comment, then you can pray as we go.
Thank you very much. I'm very privileged because I finished last time. So I'm a finalist awaiting graduation. But we've taken note because now we are practitioners, students, and examiners, HRMPM being examiners, ourselves being practitioners, and a lot of students here with us. That makes a very big portion of what we call stakeholders, especially in this policy of exemption. And what has come out is that it's like cast on stone that the accreditation people have set 49% as a maximum exemption. We would like to put it as food for thought as major stakeholders that especially because of the students who have just indicated they have really done a lot, masters, degrees, and all what have you. We will still think in the spirit of our constitution of public participation that these 49% ought to be backed up by either empirical data or policy analysis, because it might not be very much unfair. I'm saying that because I have also taught. I've also been an examiner in other areas, and I have been practicing since 2008. I've been practicing HR, and I have interacted also with the curriculum. I think rather than HRMPEB having been tied up, we need to interrogate further 49% with the name of maybe advising as advisory to the accreditation center. That's what I just wanted to mention. But we really thank you. We thank you, HRMPEB, because you've been doing a lot of assistance, and you have really been helping us. And the new mode of examination 3 times is really going to help our generation, the generation coming in. So thank you so much for that. Could we close with a word of prayer? Heavenly Father,
Yes.
we want to thank you. We want to thank you, dear Lord, for this day which you had given us. Thank you for all the information which we have received. We want to thank you because this is a progress which we are making in our profession. We thank you for HRMPEB. We pray as they continue guiding us and helping us, that you'll continue giving them wisdom, even to help us to move on with our profession. We thank you for all students who are yet to complete their courses. We pray that you're going to give them strength, you're going to provide for them financially, and you're going to give them sound mind so that they can finish their course. We thank you, for we pray this, trusting and believing in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much, Gabriel Kimani, for that. Our stakeholder engagement meeting has come to an end, and we would like to thank everyone who has joined in for your invaluable participation, your insights, your feedback, your questions, your active involvement. We do not take it for granted. We don't take it for granted. And all those who've asked questions, we will reach out to you individually. And we are just finishing off. You can log out. Thank you so much. We appreciate.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maureen, and thank you.